Alright, so here is part 2 for you of our notes. So what we left off on was B2 problem, and we were saying that these intercept at 0, 3. So what we're going to do is look at our C column, the second one. So we're going to go back over. Again, we're going to make sure that both of these equations are in y equals mx plus b form because we can't graph them without that. So the first one checks off, but the second one we need to put into y equals mx plus b form. So first we need to get rid of this negative 2x. So what I need to do is add 2x to both sides. And I get 3y equals 9 plus 2x. Now y, yes, is alone by itself on the left side, but it's not completely alone. There's still a 3 attached to it. So in order to get rid of that, we need to divide everything by 3 and get our equation y equals 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 2 cannot go, or 3 can't go into 2, so we're going to leave it as is. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy it over here. So I have y equals 3 plus 2 over 3x. Okay, so I'm going to graph my first equation again in purple. My slope is 2 over 3, so I'm going to go up 2 and to the right 3. So I'm going to start at my y-intercept, which is 0, 3, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, put a dot. Again, remember, we need to go all the way to the edge of my graph, and once I do that on the right side, now I have to do it on the left, but in this instance, I'm going to go down 2 and to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, because I need to know what the opposite is. So there we go. Now we have our dots. Now I can actually take my ruler and draw it. So I'm going to draw my straight line and add 2 of my little arrows at the end. So now I'm going to take my second equation, and this one's also going to start at 3, 0, 3, and it's also going to go up 2 and to the right 3. Very interesting. And if I do the opposite to figure out where it's going, it's going to look like that. So let's graph it. Interesting. Huh. Did you notice something about the difference between all of these? Did you notice that the left column, my A column, is all not intercepting? My B is intercepting, and my C is 100% intercepting? Interesting. All right, so our equation here, it says, our equation here, both of them are not in y equals mx plus b form. So what I have to do is I'm going to do my first equation again in purple. So what I'm going to do, and what I would like for you to do as well, is write it in that box below. And what I'm going to do is solve for y. Okay? So in order to solve for y, to get negative 6y alone, I need to get rid of this negative 12x, which the opposite would be a plus 12x. So I'm going to add 12x to both sides. I'm going to bring down my negative 6y. I'm going to bring down my 18 and my 12x. So remember, the last step we need to do in order to get y by itself is to divide by negative 6, or whatever attached to y. So my first equation is going to be y equals a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 18 divided by 6 is 3. And a negative divided by a positive is negative. 12 divided by 6 is 2. And don't forget your x with that one. So now I have my second equation, which is negative 2x minus y equals 2. Again, we have to get this into y equals mx plus b form. So what I need to do is get rid of this negative 2x by adding 2x to both sides. Don't forget the negative in front of the y. Remember, it's negative y equals 2 plus 2x. Okay, and so now what we're going to do is y is not by itself, because remember, there's an invisible -1 here. Or sorry, there's an invisible 1, which means my y is -1. So I'm going to divide everything by -1. Therefore, a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 2 divided by 1 is 2. And again, a negative divided by a positive is a negative. And it's going to be -2x. So I'm going to solve all these equations first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy them over and graph them, just so that we can consistently go back and forth. So for this one, I want you to pause the video and I want you to try this next one on your own. So I have -5x plus 2y equals -2. The reason we want you to do these alone and pause the video is we want you to test yourself so you actually do, if you do know what so we know what you are doing, and so you know at what point are you getting stuck at, or if you understand it. So pause the video now. Now that you've paused the video, what we're going to do for the first one is get rid of this 5x by adding it to both sides. Okay, so you should have gotten 2y equals a -2 and a plus 5x. Now, the real tricky part is dividing everything by 2. So make sure you divide everything by 2 because that's what's attached to the y. So a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And since 5 doesn't go into 2, we're just going to leave it as is. So you should have gotten y equals -1 plus 5 over 2x, or 5 over 2x minus 1, if you flipped it. Okay, so then this one right here, I need to get rid of the x by adding it. So I get -5y, don't forget the negative in front of it, minus 5 plus x. So the last step I need to do is divide by -5 to everything. The 5's are going to cancel on the left side. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. Plus, now if you're confused on this one, I'm sorry, not plus. If you're confused on this one, remember, everything next to y is, x is a 1. It's an invisible 1. So now I have a negative divided by a positive, which is a negative. So I have 1 minus 1, or 1 over 5x. And for the last one, take a pause, solve it out. So go ahead and pause. What you should have done to this one, now that you've unpaused, is add 6x to both sides. And you bring down your -2, your -8, and your plus 6x. In order to get rid of it, you divide by -2, because when you're attached to y, you have to do the opposite, which is divide. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And a negative divided by a negative is a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 6 over 2 can actually be reduced to be 3. So I have 3x, -3x. Okay, so again, let's pause the video, see if you can solve it. Now that you've unpaused, you should have subtracted 27x to both sides. You get 9y equals 36 minus 27x. And what's the last step? Divide by 9. Yes, now you're getting the hang of it. So now my second equation is y equals 36 divided by 9 is 4. A negative divided by a positive is a negative, and we get -3x. So now all I'm going to do is copy these 3 equations